welcome to my channel. Recently I posted a video on all of the items that I made over the last year. I'm so happy that people were feeling inspired by that video and it really prompted me to start this sewing channel, and so welcome. Let's just get into the video, which today is going to be about everything that I made in August as well as my sewing plans for September. So we're about halfway through August and there's definitely the potential for me to make a few more things in this month, but it has been a really busy month for me, as it is for most people in the summertime, and so I have only made a few things this month. The first item that I made was another pair of Pomona pants by Anna Allen Clothing, and so for this pair of pants I used laundered linen twill from Blackbird Fabrics in the colorway Waterfall. I chose to do the wide leg view of this pattern. The pattern was a really easy sew, as it was the first two times, but I did remember this time not to try to make French seams on the pants because the pattern already kind of has you do flat felled seams. I'm not sure if they're official flat felled seams or if they're just kind of like a version of that. They sewed up really fast and I was wearing them within a few hours after I started cutting them out. The only thing that I ran into this time with these pants is I put in 2-inch elastic that I had received from Blackbird Fabrics, but for some reason the waistband kept rolling and folding on itself even though I had already secured it in 4 places along the waistband to make sure that it wouldn't do that. It was still rolling and it was kind of driving me crazy. And so what I ended up doing is I sewed a line all around the top of the waistband, and since I've done that it seems to be holding its shape nicely. I'm really happy with this sew. I have been wearing these pants all the time. The only thing is that the color is really beautiful, but sometimes when I'm wearing them I feel like I'm a nurse because they kind of look like work scrubs, and so even though they are linen, so it's not like the same texture as scrubs, but the color kind of reminds me of scrubs. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to style them because I don't really have any super wide-legged pants, and so far I've just been wearing them with this really cute white tank top that I have, and also this new white shirt that I just sewed up, which I'm actually wearing right now. So if you have any suggestions for how to style these pants, I would love to hear any of your advice. The second pattern that I sewed up in August was the Handsy top by Seamwork, and this pattern is a free PDF pattern for a woven t-shirt. It features a pocket in the front along the chest, and it also has bust darts and a facing on the neckline. The main reason that I wanted to sew this up was because of my recent sewing video and just realizing that, you know, my 2 Augustina tops that I had made, I re-dyed them and now they have all these stains and splotches on them. I just haven't been feeling motivated to wear them, and so I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to sew up a new woven top in a different pattern. The pattern was very easy to follow. It was a super quick and easy sew. I've never sewn a facing before on the neckline, so that was a really interesting new technique that I learned. The way that the sleeve is formed is just by connecting the shoulder seam and the armpit seam. That's similar to the Augustina top, but with the Augustina top they have you add this cuff to the bottom of the shirt, and for some reason I really struggled with putting that cuff on, and it was kind of cinching on the armpit, and it didn't really affect the way that it wore, but it just wasn't as beautifully finished as this shirt turned out, and it seemed like this shirt was a little bit easier to construct than the Augustina top. I am a year into my sewing versus like the Augustina top is the first thing that I ever sewed, so you know, it might have just been the learning curve aspect. I made this shirt in a size 4 in leftover linen scraps that I had laying around, so in my mind this shirt was kind of like a free sew. It took me 1 yard of fabric to make this shirt, and the fabric that I had left over was super scrappy, so in my mind this is a really good pattern for scrap busting. I finished all of the seams with French seams. It's something that I don't feel takes that much extra time, and I just feel like it's a lot nicer of a finish if you don't have a serger. As far as making this pattern again, I think I definitely would make it again. Right after I made it, I didn't really like it for some reason, but after I washed it, it became a lot softer and more comfortable. It's not as roomy and relaxed as the Augustina top is for me, but it does have more shaping because of the bust darts, and so it has a little bit more of a flattering silhouette, and the bottom hem is slightly curved as well, so it just kind of adds this soft curve to the bottom that I feel like is more visually interesting than the Augustina top just being a boxy t-shirt. I probably would sew the Augustina top again as well. I wore that shirt to death, so you know, I think both patterns are great free woven t-shirt patterns, and I would highly recommend that you check them out. Moving on to my sewing plans for September, I have a few makes that are for my children. One thing that I'm actually in the process of making right now is the Lucy dress by Paper Doll Patterns, and it's a pattern that I got off of Etsy. The pattern is a 3-tiered dress with 2 different views. The first view is a short sleeve and it has a button placket in the back. And then the second view is a tank top style that uses twill tape to create the straps. I actually finished this dress for my daughter a few days ago. I opted for the tank top view, and I really just didn't like the way that it looked on her, and it just seemed really baggy, and she also wasn't loving it. And so I ended up unpicking the top of the bodice, and I recut out the view A with the short sleeves and the button placket, and I haven't sewn it up yet, but I'm planning on doing that soon and getting that done for September. As far as the pattern goes, I thought it was super cute online. However, I didn't really like the pattern itself. I felt like the instructions were really sparse and kind of hard to follow. Luckily, I have some experience with sewing now, so it made sense. And that pattern specifically, it's tailored to someone who has a serger. And while I do have a serger that I just got, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, I haven't used it yet, and I was really wanting to just make this dress, and so I had to kind of figure out how to put it together and have nice finished seams without using the serger. And it wasn't that hard to figure that out, but it would have been nice to have the instructions kind of talk about that. For the Lucy dress for my daughter, I'm going to be using this beautiful crinkle cotton that I got from Blackbird Fabrics. It's a pink floral and it's really cute. The colorway is called Secret Garden, I believe. So far I've worked with crinkle cotton once before, and I made that Madu top and that blue crinkle cotton from my last video, and the way that it draped is it kind of just like holds air, and it just like will stick out and hold its shape, and I didn't love that shirt. And so far with making this dress for my daughter, it seems to hold true that it's a very like airy dress, which is great for hot weather, but it also just like, it just tends out and kind of holds its shape. And so my plan for remaking the top part of the bodice is I actually cut out some scrap linen that I had left over, and I'm going to create a lining on the inside on the bodice so that it just gives the dress a little bit more structure. It makes it a little bit more substantial, and hopefully that will add some weight to it and allow the bottom tiers of the dress to kind of just sit a little bit nicer than they were. The second pattern that I want to sew up in September is this really cute knit fit and flare dress for my younger daughter. It's actually not self-drafted, I guess. Like, I kind of just hacked up the few kids patterns that I have to try to make them fit within the amount of fabric that I had available. This fabric that I'm using is actually from an old dress that I purchased off of Mercari that didn't fit me, and I tried to resell it for like 6 months, but nobody would buy it, and so I thought I would try to make a dress for my daughter with it. And this is the fabric. It's kind of hard to see, it's a little dark, but it's like purple and blue, and it's made of organic cotton, so it's really high quality fabric, and it's super stretchy. So far I've tried to make my younger daughter a couple things in woven fabric, and she has a very strong preference and style when it comes to her clothes. She really likes stretchy knit fit and flare twirly dresses, and so I'm really hoping that she will wear this dress. I cut this out like 3 months ago, and it's just been sitting on my sewing table this entire time. I keep kind of like making excuses not to sew it up. I tried sewing it with my conventional sewing machine, and it kept eating the fabric, and it was getting really frustrating, and it actually bore holes into the fabric because I had to like yank the fabric out of the machine. And so then I was just like, okay, I can't make this unless I have a serger, which if you have any recommendations for sewing knit fabrics with a regular sewing machine, I'd love to hear them, because I feel like I was trying to mess with the tension, I was trying to figure it out, but it was just not working for me. Somebody in my community posted an old, it's like a 25-year-old Singer serger. They were asking like $30 for it, and it does look really old and worn out, so I don't know if it's actually working, but it was a risk that I was willing to take versus spending like $500 plus on a serger. And so it's been sitting in my sewing room, and first it was like, okay, I don't have any serger thread, so I was kind of putting it off for a while, and then I finally bought some serger thread, and then I realized that one of the pieces for the serger cone to sit on was missing, so I was like, okay, I have to replace that now. And then now I have all of my materials, I just still don't know how to set this thing up, and I finally last night was reading my serger book that I got from this lady, because she actually didn't have the manual, and I've tried looking for it online and I haven't been able to find it. I'm feeling a little intimidated, but I feel like if I just try to figure this out, I can demystify this whole experience and be able to start sewing with knits, because I actually do have quite a few projects that I'm wanting to sew with knits in the future. And so yeah, that's my plan for the second sew. The third item that I'm wanting to sew up is the Knox pinafore dress by Seamwork. I've never worn a pinafore dress before, and it seems like it's a really popular style, but there's a lot of pinafores that I really don't like the ones that have the super deep V's, or if they're like, they don't have enough coverage, they just look kind of weird to me. I wasn't really planning on making a pinafore, but I ended up buying this fabric about 6 months ago from Blackbird Fabrics, and I just don't really see any other potential use for it. It just feels like it would be good for a pinafore dress, and I'm just not feeling like inspired to make it any other way. And so I thought I would give the pinafore a try. Some things to note that I've learned about myself is that I have a really square silhouette to my body, and so I was wanting to find a pinafore that has like a round neckline just to kind of offset the square nature of my body. The Knox pinafore dress does have a round neckline. It also has square armpit holes, which does add a little bit of boxiness to it, but I did think that the style was still super cute. It has front pockets in it as well, and it has really good coverage as far as like sitting on most of your body. Because what I've noticed with other patterns, like the York pattern from Helen's Closet, for example, was another pinafore that I was looking at doing. It seemed like really cut in where it's very open on the sides, and I didn't love that as much. So I'm planning on making the Knox pinafore. Let me show you the fabric that I have for that. So it's this chalk line cotton lyocell fabric that I got from Blackbird Fabrics, and it's in a medium blue denim color, and it's pretty lightweight, so it's definitely not going to be like winter wear, but I think it would be really nice for fall and spring and even in the summer. Hopefully I'll enjoy wearing the pinafore. I feel sometimes I get a little bit of remorse after I make a new sewing pattern and it doesn't really fit my style, because I feel like I wasted the fabric. And I also have this thing in my closet where I just naturally like having more of a minimalist wardrobe, and I get really overwhelmed when there's too many clothes to choose from, but also clothes that are sitting there that I'm not wearing. It just adds this like layer of guilt for me. So there's that aspect to making this pinafore dress, but I also feel like that's kind of how you figure out your style, is by trying something new. For all I know, maybe I'm a pinafore gal and I'm just like, I've never tried it. I'm excited to give it a try. The fourth item that I want to make in September is the mini Emerson pant by True Bias. This pattern is a pull-on style pant with wide legs, and so it would be really cute because I feel like it would sort of be the same style as the Pomona pants that I have, but it is cropped, so it cuts off right above your ankle. It has really cute details to it. There's pleating in the front of the pant, and it has these really cute side pockets. I have this leftover chambray fabric that I used to make my Maeve skirt, and it's super cute. It's just this beautiful light blue color, and I think the colorway is called Glacier. It's so soft and cozy, and I think it would be perfect to make this pant for my daughter. So far in her life, she's pretty much only worn leggings, and I thought it would be so cute to try a different style for her and for her to be able to have like a looser, baggier fit pant. And the other day we actually went to the beach, and she didn't have her swimsuit because it was kind of a cloudy day. We went to like this rocky beach, and I really wasn't expecting her to get in the water, but she ended up getting fully in the water. Her leggings were completely soaking wet, and I had another pair of leggings for her to change into afterwards, but it was so hard to get her leggings on and off because she was soaking wet and I didn't have a towel. And it just made me think about this Emerson pant sewing pattern that I've been thinking about doing, and just being like, oh man, that would have been a perfect thing to have in my bag to just like slip on and easily get her into some clothing without having this huge struggle. So I'm planning on making that for her, and I'm super excited about that. The last thing that I'm hoping to make in September, if I have time, is the hinterland dress by Sew Liberated. I've been looking at this pattern for a really long time, but I was feeling a little bit deterred because I was scouring like Reddit threads, and it seemed like some people have trouble with this pattern and that it's not super clear. So I was feeling a little apprehensive in trying it, and I ended up going down the whole rabbit hole of making more gathered style dresses, and I was looking into like the Demeter dress by Anna Allen and the Barden dress, which was what I ended up making from Peppermint magazine. And now, after having figured out that I'm not really into super puffy gathered dresses, I kind of came back to the hinterland dress because it does have a similar silhouette to two dresses that I already own in my wardrobe that I love and wear all the time. And I love the versatility of the pattern because it has 3 different sleeve lengths, and it also offers the option of having a full button placket down the front, or just having a half button placket that starts at your chest, or having no placket at all. And it just seems like a really versatile sewing pattern. And so I feel pretty good about my sewing skills, and I feel like I would be able to figure out how to make this pattern. The problem I'm having is the fabric that I have currently in my stash, none of it really seems super fall-y to me. And there's one fabric I have that I think would be really cute, but it's in 100% viscose, and I've never sewn with viscose before, and so I'm a little nervous of trying that because I'm afraid that it's just going to be a disaster. And then the other potential option I have for the dress is this linen fabric that's in kind of like it's in an avocado green color. And so if you have any recommendations of which fabric you think looks cuter for fall, winter time, slash if you have any recommendations on working with viscose fabric, please share them with me because I would love some advice there. So the viscose fabric is super cute. It's black with yellow and pink and beige butterflies on it, and I think that it would be really cute. I just don't know if this would be the right fabric for that pattern. The other option I have for making the hinterland dress is this green linen I was mentioning. It's kind of hard to see it. It doesn't really look like the same color in the screen, but it's this kind of green color of like avocados when they've kind of oxidized a little bit and they've been sitting out for a little bit, but not like brown, black, but kind of like a darker green. So those are my plans for September. If you have any suggestions or comments, please feel free to share them with me. I'm super excited to start this sewing channel and to build a community with everyone and just be able to share all of these fun and creative makes that I've been working on. So thanks for watching.